Most of us are recovering now after Thanksgiving. We're gearing up to be with our families again for Christmas, but for some of us it can be a little too stressful. And here with some helpful tips is family counselor Rebecca Downing. It's a pleasure to have you here. During the holidays, it's all about communication, because sometimes communication's lost when people are together and there's drinking involved. It's a tricky time of year.
Absolutely, Seth. And we see a lot of depression and anxiety this time of year, but there are plenty of ways that you can shake things up and beat those holiday blues.
So we have ways to improve communication. Number one, stay focused.
Right. Be prepared for conflict. I don't know about you, but I like to avoid those political conversations in my family.
Yeah, don't talk about sex or politics, any of those.
Right, and practice compassion. We all have different beliefs, different ideas. Holding on to compassion when you're around family can be really helpful.
Great idea. Next one, we have listening carefully, because oftentimes speaking is less important than your listening skills.
True. It's also important to look for compromise. I know that you're recently married, and you're probably having to have those conversations about where to go for the holidays.
Absolutely, yeah. You never know which relative, how you're going to split. You don't want to hurt any feelings, so it's tricky.
Lower your expectations. That's really important. A lot of people still want to have that Norman Rockwell Christmas, which doesn't exist.
It does not exist, and no matter how hard you try, it doesn't exist, even though this picture seems to indicate that it just might. Now, the next thing is you need to try to see other people's point of view, which can be difficult.
It is. Again, that's practicing compromise and compassion. Different political views, different sexual views, different religions as well this time of year.
Another thing that can help, and I know it works all year round, it's using I statements. But take us through that, because a lot of times people use you language. So what's the difference between you and I language?
People tend to react when you say you. It's a defensive statement.
Yeah, it gets me all steamed when someone comes at me and saying, you do this and that.
And that's why it's always important to say things like I feel or I need this time of year.
Great idea. And then this way the onus is shifted onto you so that you don't necessarily get someone else agitated. You're coming at it from your point of view. Now,
well, sometimes you have to say no as well. I was thinking about this earlier in the day. Perhaps somebody in the family is going through a divorce, and it would be easier to simply say no to the holiday experience, which also might mean being with friends instead of family.
And similarly, you have to learn to compromise too, because you're not always going to get what you want, but you can get somewhere in the middle if you use that I language and try to compromise a bit. And lastly, I think maybe it might be the most important topic for the season. Ask for help if you need it, because so many people are a little bit stubborn. They don't want to ask for help, but it's important that we do.
True. I get a lot of phone calls this time of year, people needing help, needing support, and sometimes you need to get that support outside of your family.
Rebecca, great tips. Thanks so much for stopping by today. And from